This guy is King George IV. As you can see from his photo, he kind of loves to eat. In fact, he did actually love to eat. He had some problems with eating and he was a overeater, to say the least. As per some records, his breakfast consisted of 2 pigeons, 3 steaks, a bottle of wine and a glass of brandy, right? Imagine having this much of food and alcohol just at the breakfast, right? So imagine how would your lunch and dinner look like. So he loved to eat and consequently he gained some weight. The point of this video is not about weight, right? So just hold on. And in fact, the King George was a kind of person who thought that since he was a king, he was beyond the laws of human body, beyond being mortal. So he abused his body like a trash can. And as a culmination of all these bad habits, at around 3 a.m. somewhere in the 1800s, he got up and he said, "Good God, what is this?" Then finally he realized what it was. He said, "My boy, this is death." It's like he was surprised to find out that he was mortal, right? That decades of abusing his body like a trash can are not going to have any impact on his body. That's his brief story. But what is the moral of the story? I mean, if you see, for every single bad habit, this is what usually happens. We feel good while we are doing it. So when we are smoking, overeating, lazing around, oversleeping, we feel so good. It feels so good to do all these things, to overdrink, to sleep, to do all things that are considered as bad habits. We do them because they feel good, and they will feel good for a certain amount of time. And that time is actually long enough that you'll actually get addicted to those bad habits or bad things. And then suddenly, when it's too late, your reaction is exactly what King George said. What is this? And it is at this moment that you realize that now is the time to pay for all the bad habits that you've accumulated, right? But now it's too late. So it's true with every single bad habit. They will feel good until a certain period of time, and then you'll be like, oh my God. Imagine somebody has a habit of smoking. They definitely enjoy their smoke until one day they're diagnosed with lung cancer, right? So this is the story with every single bad habit. The pleasure of excess is always fleeting. Self-discipline is not the rejection of pleasure, right? When we are talking about self-discipline, we are not talking about that we reject all these pleasures. I mean, having a good meal at times does feel good. Having some alcohol sometimes does feel good. Lazing around sometimes feel good. At times our body also needs it. So self-discipline is not about rejection of all these pleasure, but it's about moderation. Self-discipline is about moderation. Self-discipline is a way to embrace it. So these things should be your reward after a period of hard work, not your lifestyle. So we heard about King George IV. Now let's talk about one more head of state, that is Teddy Roosevelt, the former president of United States of America. This is a cartoon about him. Now, as you can see, he's quite muscular and he's boxing, and that's true for him. He indeed was pretty muscular, he was pretty fit, and he loved boxing. In fact, while he was president, there was a period of time when he could not see anything from one of his eyes because he got his eye injured in one of the boxing spats. Now, Teddy Roosevelt had all the reasons to be lazy. Why? First of all, he was born very weak. So he was a very weak child. His interests were academic and never into sports. And to make matters worse, he was asthmatic, right? He had attacks of asthma. So Teddy Roosevelt, as you can see, had all the reasons to be lazy, to live a so-called sedentary lifestyle. But he was pushed by his father initially to work out, and then he worked out, and then he developed a habit of working out, and he became very fit. So he used to go for swimming in the rivers, he used to go for workouts, he used to go for boxing and things like that. So he was physically very fit. And mind you, he had all the reasons not to be fit. I mean, first he was born this way, then secondly he had the luxuries given to the president of the USA, so he could have chosen not to be fit. He could have embraced a luxurious, a comfortable lifestyle, but he did not. He continued his physical endeavors. He continued his workouts, boxings, swimmings, even while he was the president of the USA. Now let's contrast the two lives. On one hand, you have King George IV, who led a luxury life, and he, in short, led a very pleasurable life. And on other hand, we have Teddy Roosevelt, who led a so-called strenuous life. He was physically active, he was physically straining himself, and he led a very physical life. Whose life do you think was better? Of course, you would choose Teddy Roosevelt. And in fact, it was these habits of his, it was because of the fact that he was so physically active that he was actually one of the best presidents of the United States of America. So because since he was physically fit, he was mentally fit also, and his body body was ready to take on the pressure. His body was giving his mental being a space, to just work out effortlessly. But if you are not physically fit, right, if you are driven by pleasures of life, then your body kind of does not support the active thinking that is required in this possession. So we are meant for more than mere existing. What King George IV was doing was he was simply existing. He was enjoying the pleasures of life. He was simply existing. And he's a very, let's just say, very infamous king because he has all the bad things to his name. So our body is not meant, we are not meant mere to exist. We are here for more than just lying around and seeking pleasure. We are here to do something, and to do something, we need to make sure that we take care of our body. Irrespective of what you do, irrespective of what your profession is, irrespective of your gender, your age, anything, we all have an obligation to take care of our body. And it is not only in the gym that we take care of our body, it is in the kitchens also that we have to take care of our bodies. Because if we train our bodies for the hard times, and then when the hard time actually comes, we have a lot of strength to overcome those situations. I hope you found this video useful. That's all for this video. I'll see you again in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care, and have a great day ahead.